So it's New Year's Eve. Wife and kids are in the room amongst other family, and I'm in a total blackout. Not a few drinks, gone. Totally gone. The kind where you wake up the next day and you lost most of the night. Told myself I wasn't ever going to do that, and I did it. So that was my rock bottom. And it took me a long time to admit that. There had been all kinds of other trouble for years, and years, but that was the one that I thought, all right, enough's enough. Here's what nobody tells you about hitting bottom. Everybody's is different. It doesn't always have to be a crash or legal trouble or some catastrophic event. Although for many of us, it is. But it could be like a normal night you barely remember, except for the look on your wife's face. Not funny. So look, I've been anxious for years. PTSD, although I didn't know that it was called that. The only tool I knew how to use was numbing it out, one way, shape, or form. And if I'm being honest, when it worked, it was awesome. Total relief. But fast forward to why I'm doing what I'm doing now is I was lying to myself and others for a long time and not even realize it. That's the tricky part. How do you know if you're lying to yourself? Do you have chronic anxiety? Something inside of you is in conflict with itself. But that New Year's Eve revealed the gap. That got too big for me to ignore. And the look on my wife's face, she was tired. I was tired. And even though I told myself I would do it for her and my kids, that didn't work either. I'm not about to tell you that you weren't trying hard enough. I'd be willing to bet that you are a very hard worker. But what good is all that effort if you got the wrong information? And how do you know if you've got the wrong information? Do you have anxiety? Do you wish your life was heading in a different direction? Find yourself repeating the same patterns over and over again. Almost like you're stuck on a treadmill or a hamster wheel. For several years now, I've been teaching a class called Medical Detectives. That's where we study the nervous system and we even dissect sheep's brains. Here's the thing that nobody ever told me before about the nervous system. You can rewire it. If you are constantly on edge in fight, flight, or survival mode, that means you're always pissed or angry at something, some cause, some person, the world in general. Your nervous system is sending you signals to react in a certain way. If you've been through trauma, and you can relate to the PTSD or the CPTSD, then you, my friend, are stuck in survival mode. Yes, we are geared to be movers and shakers, but we are not supposed to be busy all the time. We don't have to feel guilty for resting. That's not a character flaw. That's biology, dude. It's why you snap at people for something so small. But if nothing's wrong, and yet you feel like something's wrong, that's a signal. And what I learned is that your nervous system doesn't know the difference between a real threat or a perceived threat. It will trigger a response regardless. Here's what took me a long time to learn. You can't think your way out of a dysregulated nervous system. It takes action. For example, you might very well understand what anxiety, PTSD, CPTSD, addiction, or any of that is, but that doesn't make the feeling go away. You can understand it through and through, and the feeling remains. Your body needs rhythm, consistency, something predictable, something controllable to remind yourself that the danger has passed. That's what guitar and breathwork does for your vagus nerve. That's the nerve that runs your relaxation response. And it's what rhythm and repetition do for your nervous system. And that's breathwork and guitar. I've been teaching guitar for over 20 years, and I wrote a book called Hollow, which is how I turned my own mess into music through guitar and songwriting. I'm not here to sell you the book. I'm here to tell you that I discovered something which I never knew was even possible. I've always tried to play guitar, and I've always been a writer, but never would I ever have guessed that intentionally breathing while strumming could regulate my nervous system the way that it does. So I'll show you what I've built. I'm calling it the calm and present method. It's also part of my R.E.S.E.T method. I'm not sure what title I'm going to land on. I've got the process down pat. Right now I'm working on what to actually call it. Doesn't matter. Here's the process. The R is where you recognize the trigger. You know, the thing that's pissing you off. The thing that's got you escalated and tense. When you can pick up on those cues, That's half the battle. E then is to engage. That means do something. I've been using E minor lately. Mainly because it's pretty simple. I use these two fingers. I'm using these two fingers, but you can use these two fingers. And it's something I can just grab and go. The S is the slow strum and the slow breathing. Nothing fancy. Try to stay with it. The E is the exhale. Try to sync your breath with your strumming pattern. I like using a 4 count because it's like a box, like this. The guitar then sets the pace for my racing thoughts, not the racing thoughts. The T then is the transformation, or trust the process. And if you trust the process, you will transform. Super simple, super consistent. The end. Your family will notice it before you do. What this whole thing does is gives your mind and body something to do with that anxiety. If you're really aware, you can feel the vibration on your chest. You can get into a rhythm. You can begin to flow and relax. What this isn't about is becoming a great guitarist, although I always say, yes, you will get better at guitar. This tool, when done consistently, works better than a drink, and it doesn't come with the regret the next day. Let me tell you something kind of cool. When I started learning how to regulate my nervous system, some interesting things started to happen. Synchronicities. That means I started to see number patterns. 444 happens to be mine. I'd wake up at 4:44. My receipt was 4:44. Too many to count. Now, I know what you're thinking. Big deal. You could see 4s anywhere, or any number you want for that matter. But why didn't I see 4:43 or wake up at 4:45? I was waking up at 4:44, opening up my eyes, looking at the clock, and it's 4:44. That happened on several occasions. It doesn't matter how or why. What it does matter is that it gave me a belief that something bigger than myself was helping me out through this process. It gave me hope. And here we are, in a much better place. My hope is that I can help you or guide you or walk with you until you begin to see for your own self. And believe me when I tell you that there was no way possible that I would ever be able to choose a different path for my life. I just didn't think it was in the cards. I was convinced. And I was wrong. So now we're over 3 years chemical free, but that's not the part I'm most proud of. What I'm most proud of is being present dad and a better husband. More energy. I'm a better guitar player than I've ever been. A songwriter again. All sorts of cool things. It would break my heart if you thought that you were destined to whatever path it is that you don't want to be on. I'm not going to tell you this is easy and that it happens overnight, but I am going to tell you that it's worth it. You might just need a push or somebody to hold you accountable for it. I put together some free stuff to get you started, hopefully to get you motivated, hopefully to build some trust. Check out the links in the description and get engaged. And if you're already past all the free stuff, then get into my coaching program. If you could do it by yourself, you would, right? I'm capping it at 5 people per time. We can work together as a group or we can go one-on-one. And remember, you're not broken, you're dysregulated. And that's something you can actually do something about starting tonight, if you want to.